this video, I'm going to show you how I like to do my granny square. I'm using Nickum in Vinnie's colors in a natural color and my favorite wooden crochet hook in a 5mm, but obviously you can use any yarn and hook of your choice. Start with a slip knot and then simply work 3 chain. The magic loop is a lovely way to often start circles, but I've actually discovered that a simple chain in the beginning works exactly as well, especially for when doing the granny square. So now I've got 3 chain. The first chain is going to be the middle of my granny square, or where you might have used a magic loop beforehand, and then the next 2 chain are going to take the place of my first treble. So for the beginning of the granny square, you always want to have sets of 3 trebles. I'm speaking in English crochet, not American crochet, if some of you might be getting confused. But if you watch what I do, you'll see very quickly what terminology I'm using. So I'm going to do 2 more trebles into this first chain over here, trying not to split the yarn. There we go. So I have done 1 treble, and I'm going to do another treble. So now in effect I have a set of 3 trebles, although in reality I've got my 2 chain as treble number 1 and then another 2 trebles. To make the corner space you need to do 3 chains, and then you work another set of 3 trebles in that first chain, in other words in that same middle that I told you we're going to be using as our middle. So I'm going to do 3 trebles over there. And now you can see we've got 2 sides of the center of my granny square with a nice little corner. We now get ready to do the next corner by doing 3 more chain. And then we do another 3 treble for the opposite side. Another 3 chain for the third corner, and a last set of 3 trebles in exactly that same middle chain or middle space, which is the first chain that you made. And then you can see you have clearly got your beginning of your center of the granny square. And you can see clearly you've got 4 sets of the 3 trebles. That's going to make up the middle. Now the traditional way to close it is to just do another 3 chain and finish over here, but then you end up working up each row in the middle of a row, and it's a little bit not messy, but it doesn't look quite as neat as it could. And so therefore I developed my own way of going up using the corners instead. It's actually a really easy way of doing it, but it can be a little bit confusing, which is why I'm doing this video to show you. What I do is, instead of doing 3 chain to make the corner, I'm going to do 1 chain for the first part of the corner, but then I'm going to cheat and I'm going to do a treble into the top of my very first treble that I created. You can see that what I'm doing is I'm missing my first 2 chains that I did, and I've gone into the top of that first treble just because it works quite neatly to do it like that. And now if you have a look, in effect what I've done is I've created a corner, but where my hook and my stitch are sitting on the corner of the corner rather than in the middle of the row. But if you look at it like that, if you lay your work flat, you should easily be able to see it is a neat square with 4 sets of 3 trebles each and 4 corners. 3 of them made of 3 chains, and then the last one is 1 chain with 1 treble going across to the top of that. To start the second row, what we're going to do is we're now going to do our first set of 3 going up over here, and then we'll carry on working around, and we'll finish with a set of 3 going in there and another corner like we've just done. To go up, we do exactly like we did in the first row, 2 chain to be the first treble, even though it's not actually a treble, and then we're going to do another 2 treble into that corner space. Now this is where it can get a little bit confusing, so if you need to, just pause and look at your work, and you go into that hole over there that you can see, that corner space. So you're actually working around the treble just made, which can feel rather weird, I know. But once you've done it, what's happened now is you've worked that set of trebles, your beginning chain and the 2 trebles to make a 3 treble set, along the corner treble that you did over there. When we're going along the side, because we're going straight now to the next corner, we're just going to do 1 chain, and then we're going to do the corners as normal. So in the corner, we're going to need to do 3 trebles, 3 chain, 3 trebles. And of course, if I try and go too fast for you, then I start splitting my yarn. So let's try not to do that. So there I've done my first corner, and now I'm going across the side. Remember, this is still my middle over here, and you can see it growing. Because I'm just going straight across the side, I'm now going to do 1 chain, and then I'm going to put 3 treble, 3 chain, 3 treble in the next corner. Now I'm going across the side, so I just do 1 chain, another corner with 3 trebles, 3 chain, 3 trebles, across the side with 1 chain. And now we come to that last corner. This is where you need to watch quite carefully to see where you are, because if you're not used to working with granny squares, you might be a little bit confused. But you can see that up until now, always your corners are 3 chain spaces. If you look over here, you can see that your 3 chain space is in fact over there, and over here you've got a 3 treble set. That tells you immediately that because this is not a corner space, but the corner space is there, you've actually arrived at your last corner. You've already done part of that corner, so we just need to do the first part of the corner, which is 3 trebles, and then we will finish the row with our little corner trick. So where normally you would have gone 3 chain and another 3 trebles, you can immediately see there's not space to do 3 trebles because they were already done at the beginning of the row. We are going to do 1 chain, and then we are going to do the treble across where I'm placing my hook right now, so that you can see that's where it's going to lie. So I'm going to put my yarn around the hook, and then remember what you want to do here is go in the top of that first treble that you did. It is possible to also go in over here, but it just doesn't come out as neat for some reason. Somehow it just works better if you go into the top of the treble. So you can see here's your chain. You go into that space over there, the top of the first treble of the row, do a treble, and now you've done the second row of your granny square. And if you look carefully, you can see that although you have got the chains going up there, they're not nearly as obvious, and your join over here has actually been covered by the trebles that you did, and so your going up a row is well disguised. To go up to the third row, we do exactly the same thing again. So you go up with 2 chain to act as your first treble, 2 more treble. Notice I'm going around the treble that I had just made into that space, and now I'm going to carry on along the side. Because I'm going along the side, remember the space is just 1 chain, In the side over here, I'm just going to do a 3 treble set. And 1 chain, and then corner as usual, 3 trebles, 3 chain, and another 3 trebles. Then for going along the side, it's 1 chain, 3 trebles in the space, because it's a side space and not a corner. You just need 1 3 treble set, 1 chain along the side, and then a corner. Corner is your 3 trebles and 3 chains and 3 trebles, and you just keep going around the whole set like this. Side, so you go 1 chain, 1 3 treble set, 1 chain, and then a corner set. 3 trebles, 3 chain, 3 trebles. Along the side, 1 chain, 3 treble set, and 1 chain. And notice that now I've come to my corner where my space is over here, so I only need to do 1 of my 3 treble set, just like you did along the sides. 1 2 3, and then I'm going to do my corner, 1 chain and 1 treble into the top of my first treble of the row, and there we go. You can now start seeing how the granny square works. You keep going up in exactly the same way until it is the size that you actually want it to be. You can also use different colors for different rows. I'll have to show you in another video how I like to change colors. But that's your basic granny square. Have fun.